Welcome to another episode of the Aerial Outsider Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, and this is where we talk about drones, NASCAR, football, and basketball. So I wanted to hop on here and talk about my fantasy roster. I know we haven't talked about football a whole lot, but in one of the business groups I'm in here in the Omaha, Nebraska area, I did join a fantasy league this year. So I wanted to kind of hop on and kind of talk about it. So what I was kind of surprised about the fantasy draft, granted it is only 8 teams and there were 16 rounds, so you kind of got a lot of good players spread around, but I was kind of surprised that the league went heavy running back and wide receiver early. But then again, there's not a lot of running backs out there that are good, I guess, or elite, if you will. I ended up with a couple of good running backs, one kind of like a bowling ball in Derrick Henry. I like his style of running. I like how he can just throw people off when he's running. I've seen it before, and I hope to see it again this year. And the shifty, crafty running back in Jahmyr Gibbs, I ended up with him, which is a very big win. I ended up picking him first overall in my draft. So hopefully the Lions can do really good again this year. I have high expectations for them. And I wasn't expecting to be able to land Mahomes in the 5th round. So that is another win for me because I was trying to figure out who would I pick for quarterback, especially if the round before I was thinking about Josh Allen, or I saw Josh Allen go off the board on round 3 and trying to think, well, do I take a quarterback then or not? So I ended up not. I ended up getting a tight end here before Mahomes in the 4th round, TJ Hawkinson out of Minnesota. So hopefully week 1 he can light up the Bears. Sorry to Bears fans, but I honestly don't think the Bears are going to do very well, especially with 3 of the NFC North teams that are projected to go high, like just as high as they did last year, making the playoffs. So I think the Bears are still the odd team out in that division. And then for my defense here this year, I'm heavily relying on the AFC North. I have Pittsburgh's defense starting, and then I have Baltimore's defense as a backup. My idea is to keep those around depending on how they do and interchange them throughout the bye weeks. I think those are the 2 best defenses out there in the AFC North, especially with Cincinnati and Cleveland. Those defenses are just gonna probably shred the Bengals and the Browns. Those teams have historically been pretty bad to pretty bad, especially the Browns. So just running through the roster, I did actually snag Devonta Smith after Mahomes, which I was surprised, but I'm glad he is starting. I also got Dallas Goedert too, but we'll see if I start him over Hawkinson. This week I have him on the bench. I know Philly opens the season at Dallas. So with Dallas just losing Micah Parsons, I'm kind of debating, do I start Philly? But then Hawkinson goes up against the Bears, so do I start him versus Goddard? It shows right now that Hawkinson is going to do better. That's just my thought is Hawkinson is going to do better. Just based off the fact that Philly has 2 good wide receivers, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. I have one of them. So I think Devonta Smith is going to get a high number of targets, and those 2 guys are going to get targets over the tight end. So in that respect, I think I'll start Devonta Smith over starting the Eagles tight end of Dallas Goedert. And we'll see what happens. I did get some good backup receivers as well. in the draft, so that when my guys go on their buys, I do have Jaden Reed and Shakir, both of which are very serviceable. And then I got Drake May too. I got drafted the QBs back to back just because I didn't want to be lost on just one QB and then trying to figure out who my next QB was going to be when Mahomes goes on his bye week. So that's kind of the overview. Oh, and also my kickers, I do have to say, this is my dilemma with the kickers. I have two very good kickers in Brandon Aubrey and Harrison Bucker. Brandon Aubrey obviously faces Philly, so maybe if Philly can let Dallas into the field goal range once or twice this game, he can be serviceable. He can gain some points. My other thing is if Dallas does not move the ball very well this upcoming game, and especially if they're facing the Eagles, Aubrey won't get any points at all, really. So we'll see. Then that's the debate. Do I start Harrison Bucker, who can kick field goals, but then the problem is that, say, Mahomes goes crazy and the Chiefs just score touchdowns. Either way, I have two very serviceable kickers that can gain points in a hurry, which I like, honestly. So we'll see what I end up doing with the roster. I like the roster right now, just the way it is, and I might consider some trades depending on how the first week goes, which it'll be exciting. This Thursday we got Dallas and Philadelphia. Actually, it might be in Philadelphia, which would be pretty good. And then we have, just like last year, the Chiefs and Chargers, not like last year, but we're going to the same location, to Sao Paulo, Brazil. So they open the season there on Friday, the next day. So a couple good games here coming up late this week, and it looks like everybody else plays like normal over the weekend, which is going to be exciting, having the NFL back after having so much time off. It's finally the end of the off season. So just looking at it, and it looks like Minnesota and Chicago are the last to play. So hopefully, my hope is, if I am trailing by the end of Sunday night, my hope is that Hawkinson can make up whatever gap I have and dominate the Bears on Monday night. That's my hope. And then we'll see how Aaron Rodgers does as a Pittsburgh Steeler. We'll see how Micah Parsons does as the member of the Green Bay Packers. And then I'm kind of excited to see what Denver can do. Denver has a pretty good team, up and coming, young team. Green Bay still beats them out though, and the youth of the league, since I think this is the second or third year going on that they're the youngest team in the league for Green Bay. But Cortland Sutton, I think he's a pretty dang good wide receiver for the most part. They got some good tight ends. Adam Troutman, he's very good. And then also Bo Nix, he's a good up-and-coming quarterback. So we'll see what happens here coming up this weekend. But I just wanted to kind of lay out my fantasy team, kind of say that I hope that they do perform well. We'll see. I like the bowling ball idea with Derrick Henry, as sometimes during games, if it is tight, he can go on those long runs and just it's hard to tackle, especially if he's going up against a 5'10" guy who maxes out at maybe 180 pounds. Yeah, Derrick Henry, he's 6'4", I think, and maxes out at 220, 230, but that's pure muscle. So he's big, he's a bowling ball, and I think he'll do good. Just trying to figure out where they play here. They play Buffalo Sunday night. So they're in Buffalo. That should be a good game. Buffalo and Josh Allen going up against the Baltimore defense and having Lamar Jackson face him if he is going to be in. I did see a questionable by Lamar Jackson, but we'll see if he actually plays. But we'll see what happens on the NFL front. Also, I did see the highlights for the NASCAR race. NASCAR was at Darlington this past weekend, and Chase Briscoe dominated that race. It looked like he was Martin Truex Jr. all over again in the Coca-Cola 600, even though we were at the Southern 500 in Darlington and not at Charlotte. He led, I think, 305 laps of the 360-something laps that were scheduled to be run. But he dominated. The Toyotas had the power for this race, so the Toyotas swept all but 2 or 3 spots in the top 10. So looking at that, is it time for the Chevys to be panicking because they have historically not been good at the short, flat-ish ovals? Not that Darlington is a flat oval by any means. The turns are banked, but they are uneven. And Hendrick Motorsports for the Chevys was pretty much nowhere to be found. Chase Elliott finished 17th. Kyle Larson finished, I think, 19th. William Byron, 21st. And then Alex Bowman finished 31st. So, and especially with Alex Bowman being below the cut line, he falls to 19 points below the cut line. So him being out kind of raises red flags for Hendrick Motorsports here. He has, because the next track they go to is in St. Louis, Gateway International Raceway, and that is a short, flat oval. A lot of people are predicting it to be either a Joe Gibbs driver battling it out with a Penske driver or a Ford, because Chevys have historically not been good at this track. Now that it's in the playoffs, this kind of complicates things, especially for Hendrick Motorsports, where even Chase Elliott is 9 above the cut line, and he needs to run better in order to stay above that cut line. Alex Bowman needs to get out of the hole, but then after this race they have Bristol, but I would rather them not have to worry as much about winning at Bristol. Alex Bowman might have to win Bristol to advance, but we'll see. And then Shane Van Gisbergen, I'm surprised he didn't run 20th or better, but he is only 3 above the cut line. He may not make it to the round of 8 because if he makes it to the round of 12, there is a road course in the round of 12. He probably will win the road course, which would put him in the round of 8, but I do believe if he's not in the playoffs, he will still win it. But if he was in the playoffs, it'd be even sweeter because it's kind of like that Cinderella story if you think about it. He's a rookie, but he's 35 years old-ish, around there, mid-30s. And he's doing this as he came over from Australian supercars to race in NASCAR. And I think that's an accomplishment within itself, being in the playoffs, your first rookie full-time season, and getting better at the ovals, getting better at all the tracks, really. But I think he's the one that fits the Cinderella slipper this season in the playoffs if he's able to advance. But we'll have to see how that plays out. Hendrick Motorsports needs to get better. We'll see about Penske. Joey Logano is below the cut line, but really until he's out, he's still alive. No matter what, he can still win anytime, any race. Same with Kyle Larson, but right now Kyle Larson is not showing the speed. He's been, like everybody's been saying, it looks like he's lost. Like, he's driving, he's getting into some of other people's incidences, but it's like he's lost something. He's lost that edge. He isn't taking as many chances as he once did ever since May, ever since he attempted the double with the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. It seems like he's been lost in that sense, but we'll have to see if he's able to pull out of it and get a couple wins here, or at least survive this round and be in the round of 12, and then we'll see about what tracks line up best for him in that round, and we'll see if he's able to advance. Same with William Byron and Chase Elliott. I think he'll make the round of 12. Alex Bowman, I'm not too sure on right now. We'll have to see. And then, of course, there's other drivers below the cut line: Austin Dillon, Josh Berry, and like I said, Joey Logano. I expect Austin Dillon and Josh Berry to be eliminated, honestly, and then we'll have to see if Joey Logano leapfrogs somebody or whatnot. But like I said, I do believe the Fords and Toyotas are going to dominate next weekend, which puts Hendrick Motorsports in a little bit of a pinch after using up their quote-unquote one bad race. Granted, yes, as you may have noticed, I am mentioning Hendrick Motorsports a lot. I do kind of follow NASCAR from their angle, as I am a fan of Hendrick Motorsports ever since Jeff Gordon was there and Jimmy Johnson during that whole 5 championships in a row. I was in high school for that, so in case people are wondering, that's why. But yeah, let me know on the Facebook page what your thoughts are on that. Are you in a fantasy league? Let me know about that too. The Facebook page is Aerial Outsider Podcast on Facebook, and I put content out there about sports and then drones as well, since I do have a drone business, which this episode is brought to you by Netzel Air Drone Services LLC, an Omaha-based drone service company focusing on construction monitoring, small events, real estate, and thermal imaging. Call today if you have any questions about your drone job that you may have, 531-213-6659, or you can email Kyle@netzelair.com, and I will see you in the next episode.